All right, this review is to get you ready for test 2-3, which is tomorrow, Friday. The first 4 problems all have the same directions. 2 sides for a right triangle ABC, where C is the right angle, are given. Find the indicated trigonometric functions of the given angle. Find the exact answer with rational denominators. Okay, a couple things. Because this is exact answers, I don't want any decimals. They want rational denominators. That means no square roots on the bottom of the fraction. So problems 1 and 2 have the same information. I'm going to have a triangle where side A is 6 and side B is 1. So I'm going to draw one triangle in the middle here for problem 1 and 2. They tell me at the top that the right angle is side C, angle C. That means this is C. They tell me that side A is 6, and I know A is always opposite angle A. And side B is equal to 1. Okay, so I've labeled everything on my triangle. In order to finish this up, I have to go find the C, and I know because it's a right triangle that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So here's my scratch paper. We're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 6, so 6 squared plus 1 squared equals C squared. 36 plus 1 equals C squared. And 37 equals C squared. So C is equal to the square root of 37. You're going to leave it just like that because they told me that they wanted exact answers, and the square root of 37 is not a whole number. So over here where it says side C, I'm going to write square root of 37. Okay, once you have your right triangle filled out, now we can go answer the question. Number 1 wanted to know sine of A. So I go up here to angle A and I swish it. And then I have to remember what sine means. Sine is your opposite over the hypotenuse. So opposite angle A is side A, which is 6, and the hypotenuse is the square root of 37. All I have left to do is rationalize the denominator. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 37. And that's going to give me 6 square root of 37 over 37. Done. Number 2 is almost the same problem, except it wants me to find cosine of A. Well, I've already swished my A. My triangle is already all filled out. We just have to remember that cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So which of these sides is adjacent to A? 1 over my hypotenuse is the square root of 7. And then we're going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 37. And we end up with square root of 37 over 37. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. 3 and 4 are going to work the same way, but I'm going to need a new triangle. So I'm going to draw a new triangle. I'm still going to label it the same. This is going to be C, A, and B. But this time they tell me that A is equal to the square root of 5 and side C is equal to 8. So this time I'm looking for B. So I'm going to go back to my same scratch paper. I'm using the same formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I've got the square root of 5 squared plus B squared equals 8 squared. Square root of 5 squared is 5. 8 squared is 64. I'm going to subtract 5 and get B squared equals 61. So that's going to be the square root of 61. So B is the square root of 61. Alright, so now what we're going to go do is I'm going to go look at what they want me to find. Now that I have all my sides labeled, they want me to find sine of A. So I go up here to the A angle and I swish it. Sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Opposite angle A is side A. So the square root of 5 over the hypotenuse, which is 8. Done. I'm going to come over here to this other side, and they want me to find cosine of A. I've already switched the A. Cosine is your adjacent over your hypotenuse. Adjacent to angle A is B, which is square root of 61 over 8, and we're done. All right, so that's how you're going to do 1 through 4. The next section on 5 through 8, they want me to use this picture to find all the information for the triangle. So anything missing, I need to go find. So each one of these problems is going to use this exact same picture. So I'm going to go draw the picture, and I'm going to label what they give me. They tell me that side B is 5, and they tell me that angle alpha is 20. I have to go find A, C, and beta. Well, I know because it's a triangle that it has to add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in degree mode. And I'm going to take what I have so far. I've got 90 plus 20, and then I'm going to subtract 180 from that, and I get 70 degrees. So I already found out that beta is 70 degrees just by adding up what I have and subtracting it from 180. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find this missing side over here. To find this missing side over here called A, I swish the angle they gave me. This side over here is opposite and 5 is adjacent. So what trig function uses opposite and adjacent? So I look at my little formula card, and that's tangent, TOA. So I'm going to write down tangent of 20 degrees equals the opposite over the adjacent. To solve that, I have to multiply both sides by the denominator. So then we have 5 times tangent of 20 equals A. And I just go type that in my calculator. 5 times tangent of 20. So 1.82. Okay, the only thing left to find, I have A, I have beta, now I have to go find this side C. I'm going to use my A squared plus B squared equals C squared in order to find that. So, go back to my scratch paper. I'm going to use A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 1.82 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. They tell me in this part of the review that I can have decimals, so I'm going to use my calculator. 1.82 squared plus 5 squared equals, and that's my answer for C squared. I still have to take the square root, so square root of second answer, 5.32. So C is going to be equal to 5.32. Okay, we're going to go do the exact same steps over here on number 6. So the first thing I'm going to do on number 6, I'm going to draw my new triangle and label it. They tell me this time that B is 5 and alpha is 43. I'm going to go find the beta. Again, I know that I have a 90-degree angle, a 43-degree angle, so I'm going to add those two up. So 90 plus 43, and I'm going to subtract that from 180. So my missing angle beta is 47 degrees. All I did was subtract. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and do just like I did earlier and find side A. And again, side A is opposite my swish, and 5 is adjacent. So I have O and A again, so it's tangent again. Tangent of 43 is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. I multiply both sides by the denominator. So 5 times tangent of 43 is going to equal A. I go to my calculator again. We do 5 times tangent of 43, and that's 4.66. So A equals 4.66. All right, now I have to go find C. I'm going to use my scratch paper again. I'm going to do my A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I know A is 4.66 squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to type that in. 4.66 squared plus 5 squared. That's c squared. I have to square root that. Oops, it's my second square root. Try that again. And we get 6.83. So C equals 6.83. Okay, so hopefully that helped on those. Now what we want to do is go do 7 and 8 exactly the same way. Don't make it hard. Go ahead and pause the video and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you're coming back to check. On number 7, again, same triangle. We labeled this side 8. This is A, and I switched 23. I know the triangle has to add up to 180. So we do 90 plus 23 equals, and then 180 minus 113. And I get 67 degrees. So my beta equals 67 degrees. We're going to go find side A. Side A is opposite angle A, and 8 is adjacent. O and A means tangent. So tangent of 23 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So A is going to equal 8 times tangent of 23. We're going to type that in our calculator. 8 times tangent of 23 degrees. And we get 3.40. So A equals 3.40. Okay. Now I want to go find the C. We're going to do our A squared plus B squared equals C squared again. Okay, so I'm going to use my same piece of scratch paper that I've been using. So my A is 3.4 squared plus my B is 8 squared equals C squared. I'm going to use my calculator. And I'm going to do 3.4 squared plus 8 squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of that answer, and I get 8.69. So C is equal to 8.69. All right, we have one more to do in this section, so hopefully you've already done it before you played the video. Same thing again, we're going to draw our new triangle. Still labeling it like the original problem told me to. This is 8, up here is 40, it's a 90-degree triangle, and I'm looking for the missing information. So I've got 90 degrees plus the 40 that they gave me. 180 minus 130 tells me that my beta is 50 degrees. Now I'm going to go find the A side. A side is opposite the 40. The 8 is adjacent. O and A means tangent again. So tangent of 40 equals the opposite side over the adjacent. Multiply both sides by the denominator. And I'm going to type that in my calculator. 8 times tangent of 40 degrees equals 6.71. So A is equal to 6.71. All I have to find now is C, and we're going to use that same formula again. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 6.71 squared plus B squared equals C squared. Go to my calculator and let it do the magic. 6.71 squared plus 8 squared. Remember that C squared, I have to take the square root of that, and we get 10.44. So C is equal to 10.44. All right, so all of this top section on 1 through 8 have to do with right triangles, Pythagorean theorem, and SOHCAHTOA. On 9 through 14, it has to do with triangles that are not right triangles. If it's not a right triangle, you're going to use law of sines or law of cosine. So let's go look at each of these. It says solve the triangle, which means it wants me to find all the missing sides. The easiest thing to find first, if you have two angles, is my missing angle. Because again, everything has to add up to 180. So 85 plus 50 is 135. I subtract that from 180 and find out my missing angle is 45 degrees. Okay, so I know that beta is 45 degrees. All I have to do now is find side A and side C. We're going to use the law of sines on this because I have an angle and an opposite side. So I start off like this. Sine of 45 over the opposite side 3 is equal to, I'm going to go find A first, and I know from my formula that A goes on the bottom and alpha goes above it. So A goes on the bottom and alpha is opposite A. So on the top, I put sine of 50. We're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to circle the numbers that are diagonal. I'm going to multiply these numbers and divide by the one I didn't circle. So A is going to equal 3 times sine of 50 divided by sine of 45. So again, we're in degree mode already. We're going to type this in. 3 times sine of 50, hit enter, divided by sine of 45. And we see that A equals 3.25. So side A equals 3.25. All I have left to find is C. I cannot use the Pythagorean theorem because this is not a right triangle. What I'm going to do instead is go do law of sines again. I'm going to start off with the exact same fraction. Sine of 45 over 3 is equal to, this time I'm looking for C. C goes on the bottom. I look at my formula, and below, C is on the bottom, the angle opposite's on top. Opposite the C is the 85 degrees. I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to multiply the numbers diagonal, divide by the one I didn't circle. So C is going to equal 3 times sine of 85 divided by sine of 45. I'll type that in the calculator. 3 times sine of 85 divided by sine of 45. And we get 4.23. So C equal to 4.23. Okay. Go ahead and try number 10. Number 10 is going to use the exact same steps, exact same information, and then check back for your answer. So pause the video. All right, so hopefully you've already tried number 10 and you've unpaused the video. I'm going to remember that these have to all add up to 180. 100 plus 40 is 140. So 180 minus 140 is going to give me 40. This alpha is 40. Now I need a side opposite and an angle opposite. So these two are opposite angle, opposite side. So that's how I start my fractions. So sine of 40 over 2 is equal to, I'm going to find A first. A goes on the bottom, and opposite the A is 40. We're going to cross multiply and then divide. So 2 times sine of 40 divided by sine of 40. So type that in. 2 times sine of 40 divided by sine of 40. The answer is 2. So A equals 2. Now I have to go find C. Again, I'm going to go use the same fraction when I start off. So sine of 40 over 2 equals, this time I'm looking for C, and opposite C is 100. I'm going to multiply the diagonals, divide by the one I didn't circle. So C is going to equal 2 times sine of 100 divided by sine of 40. All right, so 2 times sine of 100 divided by sine of 40, and we get 3.06. So C equals 3.06. Okay, so that's how you do 9 and 10. Hopefully you got this right. Now I'm going to go look at 11 and 12. 11 and 12 are a little bit different because I do not have an angle and an opposite side, and they only give me one angle inside. When you only have one angle inside and you don't have an opposite, we have to go use law of cosines. So now I'm going to be looking at these formulas here. In order to use law of cosines, you have to go find the sides first. So the missing side here is c, and I have a formula for that. I'm using c squared equals, I'm using this formula right here, and I'm going to go plug in. So the formula says, we go c squared equals, says you do a squared plus b squared. This is a, this is b. So we have 2 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times a times b times cosine of the angle in the middle. Okay, so again, all I did was use the formula that we wrote down right here. A squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b times cosine of gamma. Gamma is the one in the middle. You're going to go type this in your calculator. So 2 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 3 times cosine of 95. Okay, now that is c squared. I have to remember to take the square root. So I'm going to square root the answer, and we're going to find out that c equals 3.75. Now that I know what c is, I can go find either alpha or beta. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go find alpha. That's the one I want to find. I have a formula on my formula card that says to find alpha. I'm going to go b squared plus c squared minus a squared, all divided by 2 times b times c. So here we go. I'm just going to plug into the formula. Cosine of alpha equals, it says b squared plus c squared. We just found c, minus a squared, all divided by, my formula card says to put it in parentheses, 2 times b times c. All right, so let's practice how we put this in your calculator. You type in the numerator exactly like you see it. And then I told you to go hit enter. Divided by, you have to put parentheses or you're going to end up getting an error. 2 times 3 times 3.75. And I get this itty bitty decimal. But remember, you're looking for an angle. And when you're looking for an angle, you have to remember the second cosine, second answer. So it's 32.1. My angle is 32.1 degrees. So now I know this is 32.1. The top angle was 95. So I just need to add these two together and subtract it from 180. So I've got 95 plus 32.1, which gives me 127.1. And I'm going to subtract that from 180 and find out my missing angle beta is 52.9. Okay, so pause the video again. Go try number 12. Number 12 is identical to the same steps in 11. See if you can get the right answer. All right, so hopefully you've paused the video and you're coming back to see if you're right. When you only have one angle and you have no opposite sides, you're going to use law of cosines. Law of cosines says you have to go find all the sides first. The side I'm missing is b. I have a formula for b right here. A squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cosine of beta. So here's a, here's c, and I'm going to go plug in. B squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cosine of beta. All right, so I've plugged it all right there. Now I'm going to go to my handy dandy calculator and type it in. 2 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 parentheses 2 times 4 times cosine of 45. And again, I'm going to remember that that's not my answer. That's b squared. I have to still go square root that. So my b is 2.95. So b equals 2.95. All right, now that I know what B is, I'm going to go find either alpha or gamma. Since we just practiced doing alpha, I'm going to do it again. Cosine of alpha equals, my formula card says that I'm going to go do b squared plus c squared minus a squared, all divided by 2 times b times c. Okay, so we just found b. So b squared plus c squared minus a squared, all divided by parentheses 2 times b times c. We're going to practice typing that in our calculator again. I'm going to type in the top just like I see it. 2.95 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 squared, hit enter, divided by parentheses 2 times 2.95 times 4. And I'm going to remember to second cosine, second answer. And we get 28.69. 28.69. That's what's in here. Again, this whole triangle has to add up to 180. So I'm going to take the angles that I know, 45 plus 28.69, and see that those add up to 73.69. And I'm going to go subtract 180, and I get 106.31. So my missing angle is 106.31. Okay, so that's the front of the review sheet. Let's go take a peek at the back. Number 13 and 14 are doing the same thing. When they give you all the sides, you can only use law of cosines. And we're going to use the formulas that we wrote down here on the bottom. We're going to go find cosine of alpha, cosine of beta, and we're going to add those two up and subtract it from 180. So the first thing I'm going to do is label my sides. Opposite alpha is A, opposite beta is B, opposite gamma is C. And I'm going to go plug into the same formula I just got through using. So I'm going to go find alpha first. I'm going to take my b squared plus my c squared minus my a squared over 2 times b times c. I'm going to type that in my calculator. So 5 squared plus 8 squared minus 6 squared, enter, divided by parentheses 2 times 5 times 8. And I'm a second cosine, second answer. And we're going to find out that alpha is 48.51. So alpha is 48.51. Okay, from here I can either go find beta or gamma. I'm just going to go in order. I'm going to do beta next. Here my formula is right here. So cosine of beta. So to find beta, it says take a squared plus c squared minus b squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 5 squared over 2 times a times c. So type it in the exact same way we did a second ago. So we do the top first, 6 squared plus 8 squared minus 5 squared, hit enter, divided by parentheses 2 times 6 times 8, second cosine, second answer. And we get 38.62. So I know this is 38.62. Now I'm going to take these two angles, I'm going to add them up and subtract it from 180. So 48.51 plus 38.62, 180 minus 87.13, and we find out my missing angle is 92.87. Okay, number 14 is going to work the same way. So again, go pause the video and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so hopefully you've already paused the video and you're coming back to check your answers. So let's see if you plugged in right. To find cosine alpha, you should have 6 squared plus 4 squared minus 9 squared over 2 times 6 times 4. You're going to plug that in your calculator and you're going to get 127.17 degrees. After you find alpha, you're going to go find beta. On the formula for beta, we're going to have 9 squared plus 4 squared minus 6 squared all over 2 times 9 times 4. You're going to go plug that in your calculator, and you're going to remember to second cosine, and you're going to get 32.9 degrees. You're going to go add these two up and subtract them from 180, and we're going to find out that my missing angle gamma is 20.74 degrees. Okay, so on the next section, on 15, 16, 17, 18, they want me to find areas of triangles that we've already done. We have our area formulas right here on our note card. So they want me to find the area for triangle number 11. So I have to go back and look at triangle number 11. So here's triangle 11. Triangle 11 has 2 sides and an angle in the middle. And if they give you 2 sides and an angle in the middle, we're going to use our formulas with the 1/2 AB sine of gamma. Because they gave me side A, they gave me side B, and they gave me the angle in the middle. So the formula on my card says 1/2 AB sine of gamma. And I'm just going to go plug into that. So 1/2 in triangle number 11, A was 2 and B was 3. So we have 2 times 3 times sine of 95 degrees. And then you're just going to go type that in your calculator. So I'm going to type in 0.5 because that's what y'all like. 2 times 3 times sine of 95. My answer is 2.99. Area equals 2.99. And you're done. It's really that easy. Okay, so pause the video and go try number 16. Alright, so hopefully you've tried number 16 already. On number 16, they want me to look at triangle 12. And on triangle 12, we have side C, side A, and beta. So C, A, and beta, using this formula right here, 1/2 A times C times sine of beta. 1/2 A times C times sine of beta. So area equals 1/2 A times C times sine of beta. We're going to go type that in our calculator. Again, where it says 1/2, I'm going to do 0.5. So 0.5, 2 times 4 times sine of 45, and we get 2.83. Right, equals 2.83. Done. Number 17 asked me to look at triangle 13, which is right above me. And on triangle 13, they don't give me any angles. All they give me is side, side, side. When you have a side, side, side triangle, we're going to use this formula right here with all the S's in it. And the first thing you have to do is go find S. S is equal to 1/2 A plus B plus C. So S is equal to 1/2 6 plus 5 plus 8. And if you type that in your calculator, you're going to get that S equals 9.5. Okay. Now I'm going to take the 9.5 and plug it into my formula everywhere I see the letter S. So area equals 9.5 parentheses 9.5 minus A parentheses 9.5 minus B parentheses 9.5 minus C. Remember, your A, B, and C are coming right here from this triangle. When you type this all into your calculator, I'm going to type it straight in exactly the way I see it. The square root of 9.5 parentheses 9.5 minus 6, 9.5 minus 5, and 9.5 minus 8. And we get 14.98. And that's your answer. We typed it all in at once. So that's my answer. And I'm done. Okay, pause the video and go do number 18. It's using triangle 14. It's going to be the exact same steps, and then come back and check it with me. Okay, so the first thing you should have done is you should have found your S, so 1/2 9 plus 6 plus 4, and we got 9.5. So we ended up getting the same S value. That was just a coincidence. We go plug it into our formula. We're going to have 9.5 minus A, and then we're going to have 9.5 minus B, and then we're going to have 9.5 minus C. You're going to type that all in your calculator, and you're going to get 2.88. All right, so the last 3 problems are word problems, and you will see 3 problems very similar to this on your test. The first one is the baseball problem I told you that you'd see. So they tell me that the distance from home plate to the fence in dead center in Wrigley Field is 400 feet. A baseball diamond is a square with a distance from home plate to first base being 90 feet. How far from the fence is dead center to the third base? All right, so I'm going to go draw my picture. Here is my baseball diamond. And the first thing I know about my baseball diamond is all the sides are 90. Okay. And I know that they told me the distance from dead center to home plate is 400. So home plate is down here, and dead center field is way out here. Okay, and we're going to say that distance, they told me, was 400 feet. From here all the way to here is 400 feet. And they want to know the distance from center field to third base. So here's the triangle I have right here. I know this is 400. I know this left side is 90. I don't need this piece anymore. And I also know this angle in here. Because it's a square, I know that its whole angle is 90 degrees. So half of this angle in here, is 45. So when you have one angle and 2 sides, we use law of cosines. So I'm using x squared equals, I'm going to use this formula right here where it says c squared. And the 2 sides they gave me were a and b. So we've got 90 squared plus 400 squared minus 2 times both of those times cosine of the angle that they gave me. We're going to go type that in our calculator. I have 90 squared plus 400 squared minus 2 times 90 times 400 times cosine of 45. I'm going to get that giant number. Remember, that's x squared. I still have to square root it. So the answer is 342.33 feet from third base to center field. Okay, so if you're Springer and you're catching a ball in center field and you're trying to get the runner from going to home, you're going to throw the ball from center field to third base, 342.33 feet if you're playing in Wrigley Field. All right, number 20. On number 20, the roof on a house has one side that is in the shape of an isosceles triangle. So you have to remember an isosceles triangle means 2 sides are the same. If the sides of this part are 18 feet long, so these are both 18, and the angle at the peak, right here in the middle, is 50 degrees, find the area. So I need an area formula with 2 sides and angle. Here are my area formulas with 2 sides and angle. I can use any of these 3 depending on if I want to call these A, B, or C. It really won't matter. So area equals 1/2 18 times 18 times cosine of 50. We're going to type that in our calculator. 0.5 times 18 times 18 times cosine of 50. 0.13 feet squared. Make sure you have it squared. Did I do something? Oh, I typed in cosine. Let me do that again. It's not cosine. Shame on me. The formula says sine. I wasn't paying attention. Let's go type this in one more time. That's me doing it wrong. Look on your formula card. It clearly says sine. So we're going to do 0.5, 18 times 18 times sine of 50. Okay, there we go. That's the right answer. 124.10 feet squared. All right, one more problem. A tailor cut a triangular cloth. The side length of the cloth It's approximately 0.8, 1.2, and 1.4 meters. So here's my cloth. I know the longest side is 1.4. The next longest side is 1.2, and then we've got a 0.8, and they want to find the approximate area. All right, this is a side, side, side. So the first thing we're going to have to do for a side, side, side area is find S. So we have to go add these all up. That's 1.4. And so I'm all over the place. So we have 1.4 plus 1.2 plus 0.8. You're going to find your S, and S equals 1.7. You're going to add these all up and multiply it by half, and you're going to go plug it into your giant area formula. So got 1.7, 1.7 minus, it doesn't matter which one you call A, 1.7, it doesn't matter which one you call B, as long as you're using all of them, and 1.7 minus 0.8. You're going to plug that into your calculator, and you're going to get 0.45 meters squared. Okay, so hopefully the review helped. Watch it again if you need to. Good luck on your test tomorrow.